Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Jessie Zero, and I'm part of the Aspen Discovery team at Bywater Solutions. We have a wonderful group with us today to talk to you a little bit about the integration with Access 360 and Aspen Discovery. I will pass the mic to my left and let Mark Noble, who is the lead developer here for Aspen Discovery at Bywater Solutions.
Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, we're really excited to add Access 360 integration into Aspen Discovery. We definitely have a goal of including full support for all e-content solutions that libraries are using, and working with our friends at Swan. We wanted to add in Access 360, and we spent a couple of months working with Michael and his team at Baker and Taylor, building in the functionality, and they've been a real pleasure to work with. So we're really excited. So I'll pass the mic on then to Robin to introduce herself.
Thank you. So my name is Robin Hofstetter, and I'm a consultant in electronic resources here at Swan. And Swan is a library consortium here in Illinois, and we have 100 libraries. And at Swan, we provide the library services platform. So that includes the ILS and the discovery for Aspen. So it's been great working with everybody on this, and it was really important for us because we have 100 libraries total. 48 are in a consortium called eRead Illinois using B&T. So thank you for all your work.
Wonderful. And Michael, do you want to give a quick introduction?
Well, thank you. Yes, hi. Michael Bills, I'm the Director of Digital Programs at Baker and Taylor. And so as Mark was saying, work closely with the folks at Bywater on the integration of our Access 360 digital platform with Aspen Discovery. And it's, we welcome, of course, the close partnership that we have with the folks at Bywater, but especially the debut of more choice in discovery layer provider partners out in the library community. And it is our aim at Baker and Taylor to integrate widely, whether it's with commercial platforms or open source platforms or independent efforts from some of the individual libraries who have struck it out on their own to develop a mobile app or a discovery. So very glad to, Robin mentioned that her consortium, the public libraries in the consortium, most of them are involved in an ebook sharing environment provided through eRead Illinois, and the Rails consortium heading up that effort. And so it's just marvelous that a group within that sharing environment adopting a new discovery platform will be able to see an integrated presentation of all of the digital content available to those libraries in a single discovery and user interface.
That's fabulous, and we're excited to have that integration available so as many patrons as possible have access to that material.
Yes.
So I think the next thing we want to talk about a little bit is Mark and Michael, if you can just talk about, we briefly mentioned like the development aspect, but I want other users to know out there just how that works, in an open source environment, and how you two work together, to come up with the integration, and how Robin was able to provide feedback, for the development.
Take it away, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, it worked out really nicely. We actually set up a series of kind of weekly meetings to go through and really explain our needs to the folks at Baker and Taylor, and they could provide us with the documentation. There were some revisions made that were great to see, revisions to the documentation, that kind of thing, to make it easier to integrate. Baker and Taylor was really, really forthcoming with the documentation and very generous with their time, helping to get us set up. The process went about as smoothly as it ever goes for any vendor. So it was really nice to work with them. Basically, we just set up a communication between the computers. we use what's called the APIs, which are just ways for two different computers to talk to each other. I like to say, instead of like rendering a web page, we get back some text that the computers know how to use, and that tells us how to place holds and check out materials and search the catalog. So, but yeah, really appreciative of the time they gave us, and it was a super smooth process.
Well, thanks. We too thought it was a wonderful collaboration.
Yeah.
And Mark, being both the contact point and the developer in the seat, knitting things together, did a fabulous job. And it was great to have that direct communication on a regular basis and get that done. And we're really proud on the Baker and Taylor side of the thoroughness of the integration. Patron discovery is the key to utilization of resources, and Aspen Discovery, I think, does a marvelous job of aggregating the information, providing real-time availability information, and then the controls available for checkout, holds management, et cetera, help to really make it a great user experience.
All right, excellent. So without further ado, let's jump in and do a quick demo so people can get a quick tour of Aspen Discovery and that integration. So for those of you who may have joined us in a previous presentation of how Aspen Discovery works, you'll know that there's several ways you can search for items in the collection. You can either perform a search at the top of our collection, whether it's by, title, you have that predictive text, a certain keyword or title, and then searching in the collection. The facets on the left-hand side are what will allow you to narrow down your results. So if you know you're looking specifically for an Access 360 title, you can select that filter, which will narrow down your results. And that allows us to come in and then, of course, begin that checkout process. Now, in order for a user to check an item out, they do have to be logged into the system, whether that is their username or card number and pass or PIN word. Once they're logged in, that will initiate that they can begin that checkout process. So once they are presented with the title they may want, clicking that Checkout Access 360 title will then populate a modal window letting them know that they've successfully checked out a title. So you'll be able to see that the title was checked out, and you can download that information directly from your My Account. There's a quick link that will take you right in so the user can see not only what they've checked out in Access 360, but of course also what they may have checked out from the physical collection itself at the library and any other third-party e-content providers that they have. When I jump over to that Access 360 tab, I'll be able to see any and all titles that I have checked out. So I can see that ebook. I have the option to open directly in Access 360. Because Aspen Discovery is responsive, I can be right on my mobile device and jump over. I can be on my laptop or my desktop at home or at the library and immediately begin that reading process. That allows me to come in and read through that title. You can also return titles right away from the collection. So if you've completed reading it, I can come in, hit that Return Now button, and then that will let us know that the title was successfully returned. So if it's before the lending period that your library has selected, that will allow you to return that title. You'll also see a nice feature that will give you the You Might Also Like. And this is a great way for your patrons to explore what other titles are available in the collection that they might want to read after they're finished with this one. Now, the second way for your patrons to perform a search for those titles in the collection would be through an advanced search. So if we come down to advanced search here, I could again perform that search for a title, or I could just run a blank search in general. That will allow me to go through and look at my filter options. So now I can come down to e-content and select what I'm looking for. So in this case, we'll say Access 360, and we want to search that entire collection. Now we'll be presented with all of those ebooks that are available in the collection through Access 360. So that allows me to go through. I can see titles that are available. If one is checked out, I do have the availability to place a hold. So now the patron can place the hold directly from that Aspen Discovery interface. As they scroll through, of course, they'll be able to see exactly what's available. Now you'll notice there are additional filtering options that allow me to not only look at the entire collection, but I can say, just show me what's available on right now. What can I check out and I don't have to wait in line for at the library. So that will allow us to electronically check those titles out. Now let's go back to our account and we'll talk a little bit about those titles on hold. So we viewed our checked out titles from Access 360. We can also view our titles that are on hold. So in addition to our physical, if I click on that Access 360, we'll be able to also see any of those titles that are on hold. So now I can see that title right down below, and I can either cancel that hold or freeze it, or again, you'll notice I have that while you wait feature, which will show me other titles that are available. So multiple ways for your patrons to explore what's in the collection with Access 360, the beautiful integration of being able to check out an item, read it directly, or place that item on hold. And we'll show you one last option here. If we go over to Access 360 itself, so we're in the actual site for Access 360 with Baker and Taylor, we can also perform searches here. So if I perform a search for love and I find something that I do want to check out in the system, I can check that item out. And of course I could read now here. However, if I go back to my Aspen checkouts, it will also update that information. So now not only do I see those titles right away, I can see everything right in the collection. So no matter where they end up, if they start in Aspen, if they start in Access 360, they'll be able to see those titles in both locations. So it's a great way for them to explore what's out there. Okay. I am going to open it up for any questions that we may have from our attendees out there, or if there's anything that Robin or Mark or Michael that you would like to add in.
One more thing we could show, we keep adding new stuff to this, the reading history. We can also see all of our Access 360 titles in our reading history. So as you're checking things out, you can see no matter where you're checking them out from, if you're checking them out from the e-content platform from Access 360, or if they're physical materials, they all show up right next to each other so that you can see everything that you've been reading, really get a good view of your entire reading history.
And this is really nice because so often you'll only see what you physically have checked out in your reading history. And this is just a nice way now you can either sort by those titles, or if this is a pretty long list and you're looking for a specific author, of course you can come in here and search that way as well.
Well, I'd love to hear from Robin about, the library view into the new Aspen Discovery.
Well, Michael, as you mentioned, Discovery itself should include everything that you have access to. So it was really important for us to also have the B&T titles because it's a big part of the Illinois consortium here for eRead Illinois. And as far as the library experience, we have a dedicated team at SWAN for user experience, and we do testing and training. And then we also have a user group of library employees, members who join us, and then we go through some of the methods for accessing this. So we've already done a couple of journey maps, they're called, which is the experience that a patron would have when using this. And so we found that this fits right in with all of the others, and we're just so happy that Aspen and B&T could work together to make it happen. So I think the experience is a good one, and we're always looking to improve, but right now I think it's awesome, so I'm really happy with it.
Wonderful. I think it's even additionally interesting that Swan, I think, is a shared automation system, Circe Dynix, I believe. But you elected the Aspen discovery layer. So I don't know if we had made the point earlier that although this is, Bywater, whom maybe most people associate with, the open source ILSs, Aspen's been developed to be available as a third-party discovery layer, regardless of the underlying ILS.
Yeah, exactly. We really work hard to make sure that we're really platform agnostic. So platform agnostic, but we'll work with all of the ILSs and really do our best to highlight each of those. So we've spent a lot of time with Swan, really making sure that all of the kind of intricacies of the Symphony ILS are well represented within Aspen, because we want to make sure that everybody gets the best possible experience using Aspen. That's really important to us.
Yeah. All right, well, I figured maybe now we'll jump onto the administrative side. Within your Aspen Discovery Administration, depending on what your role is at the library, you have different permission sets to log in and see certain functionality in here. As we scroll down to the bottom a little bit, we will see some of our different e-content providers as we set things up. So in our Access 360, we'll first start with our settings. This is where we're going to define those connections to set up that integration between your ILS, Aspen Discovery, and Access 360. And of course, our migration team here at Bywater Solutions will work with you to set that up. The other thing we want to show off is the dashboard. So this will actually show you real-time live updates, so you can see things like active users, records with usage, loans and holds, renewals, early returns. I was always interested in early returns, like who is returning early. When I worked at our consortium, like I was always interested in that, because most people probably wait until it just automatically expires. You don't have to remember. And I was always intrigued by that. Canceled holds, frozen, and any type of connections that may fail. So this is a really nice way. You don't need Google Analytics to be hooked up. This is built into Aspen, so you can see those real-time results. And I always love to give a shout out to Mark here, because I think this is so amazing that no matter which part of administration you're in, you can kind of lurk on these dashboards and see a lot of real-time results, no matter if it's in system administration or any of the other connections that are built in.
Yeah, we really like to make sure that we can help libraries understand how each of those e-content sources are being used. And obviously this is a test system, so it's not getting a ton of usage, which is what we expect. But for the active sites, the usage is really interesting to look at. So interesting to see some of those patterns.
It's marvelous.
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
Well, wonderful. We'll open it up. If anyone has questions, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have about the integration of Aspen and Access 360.
Jesse, I was just going to make a comment about the dashboard that I think will be interesting for libraries. Something that we've been working on at Swan is comparing some of the stats that come directly from the vendors to the stats from Discovery, to see how many folks are going through Discovery versus going right direct to the vendor. So I think that'll be interesting for the libraries to compare, to just sort of understand how their users are accessing that, and then how they can make that experience better.
Robin, please share that with us when you start studying that, because I'm also interested in that to see where people start. That's why I always make it clear, like, no matter where they start, if it's on their phone or if it's on the Discovery, in an app, it's so nice to know that they have multiple ways to do it. And as a patron, I always find that so crucial.
Well, the nice thing is when vendors like Baker and Taylor are providing ways for us to read materials online and listen to materials online, then we're not locked into single apps, which is really nice to be able to use Aspen as your entire interface and be able to read directly. And we just launch right over to their website and you can see it. And it really reduces the barrier to entry for patrons. And we all know any barrier you put in front of them is sometimes insurmountable. So it's great to work with people that help us reduce those barriers. So
yeah, and to reinforce the connection for the user that the service is being provided by the library. And not, some unknown third party that you're moved over to.
Yeah.
And that is definitely something we strive for with Aspen Discovery, is making sure that the interface is branded to the library. And even within Lake Swan, that's a 100-member consortium. Each individual library has their own branded site that is branded to their library, which really just, like you say, reinforces that connection for the patron. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we haven't had any chats come in, so I want to start by thanking both Robin and Michael for joining Mark and I today for the Access 360 integration with Aspen Discovery. We hope that this webinar helped a few of you out there and learning more about the integration and what options are available for you and your patrons. If you have any questions, all four of us would be happy to answer or follow up with anything after this webinar. And again, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mark, Robin.
Thank you.
Jesse.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.